Okay, so I have to make a video on this just because it is interesting, very interesting. It could turn out to be not so great, but we don't know much about it now. So what I'm talking about is Tom Henderson. He's a very well-known, reliable leaker. He put out an article up on Insider Gaming talking about how Bungie, it's rumored, it's not official yet, but apparently they're making a new Marathon game. And for those of you who don't know, Marathon is a series that Bungie worked on before Halo. Now, this new Marathon game is rumored to be a 3-man squad extraction-based shooter. So I'm thinking something like Escape from Tarkov, Hunt Showdown, the Cycle Frontier, games like that. And I can't even describe to you what those games are like because I've never played any of them. I've never played a Tarkov-like game. I barely even watched anything about those games. I don't even really know how those games work. I know you go in, you get loot, and then you extract. If you die, you lose all your loot. I know that, and that's about it. But I'll probably know more about that type of mode soon because I'm probably going to play the DMZ, which is a Tarkov-like mode in the new Modern Warfare 2 game. So I don't really even know how much I would enjoy this type of game, but I still think it's really cool that Bungie is rumored to be working on a new Marathon game. And again, it's coming from a credible source. Now, if my memory serves me right, I do believe I have played Marathon before, long time ago, but I think I tried it out and I don't think I got very far. I think I just played it for a couple of minutes, fucked around on the first mission, and that was it. I don't remember which Marathon game I even played. And to be honest, I didn't really enjoy it, and that's because it felt really dated to me, even at the time I played it, which was probably 2009. That kind of gameplay was just a little too old school for me. And, you know, it's kind of funny to think about. If I played Marathon in 2009, which is when I think I played it, that means Marathon was only like 13, 14 years old, depending on which one I played. And yet it just felt so archaic to me. Shit, even if I played Marathon in 2001, if I had played Halo CE and then went to play Marathon in 2001, Marathon would have felt archaic to me then. And then at that time, it would have only been like 4 or 5 years old. But if I look back on a game like Halo 2 right now, and that game is like 18 years old, I don't think that's archaic at all. Halo 2 is still a phenomenal game. It's one of the best feeling games that I've played. I hop on Halo 2 today, and it still feels so good, even compared to many modern games. It's just a really good feeling game. Halo 2 aged so well, and so did Halo 3 and some of the other Halo games. Back in the day, you were seeing huge innovation with games in a shorter period of time. Nowadays, things have kind of slowed down in terms of innovation with video games. But even though I never really got into Marathon, it was never something I was that interested in, it did pique my curiosity. Like it was always just there in the background, you know. I seen images of it here and there, and I was interested by it. I was always interested by Marathon. It's just, again, the gameplay was a little too old school for me. And when I say old school, I don't just mean that it's old, therefore I didn't like it. I just didn't like the way it felt. I wasn't a huge fan of the gameplay, especially when you compare that to something like Halo, which I had already had played at the time. Halo just felt so much better. But this is still very interesting because, you know, this is Bungie. Bungie, like, they created my favorite games. They did unprecedented things with Halo. Like, Halo is unmatched. The things that they accomplished with some of their Halo games, no other developer has matched that. Halo is still incredible by today's standards. Well, Bungie's Halos, that is. And then Bungie went on to make Destiny, right? And Destiny, It has its flaws. It has many flaws. But it also has a lot of redeeming qualities. Like, it did a lot of things right. Like, the gunplay in that game feels great. The visuals are great. The armor looks cool. There's a lot of cool environments. Raids. There's nothing like a Destiny raid in any other game. Like, Destiny raids are one of a kind. Like, that's a really cool experience. So I definitely wouldn't call Destiny a horrible game. It has a lot of flaws. I put a decent amount of time into Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. Not a ton, but a decent amount of time. Had some fun. It's a game with so much potential. It does some things really well, some things not so much. It's just, Destiny is good, but it's not Halo good, right? It's nowhere near Halo good. But when you think about it, Bungie, they have not put out a game that has flopped, at least since 2001. I can't remember back with their games before Halo, Marathon, Myth, Oni. I don't really know how well those were received at the time, but yeah, at least since 2001, they have not put out a game that wasn't very successful. So, I mean, that has to give me hope for this game, right? Because they have a good track record. Now, I understand the Bungie today is not the same Bungie that created Halo, created, these phenomenal games back in the day. But the Bungie today is the Bungie that is working on Destiny. And again, Destiny's not a horrible game. It does some things right, some things not so well, but it's not a horrible game by any means. But at the end of the day, even if it's not the same Bungie, the same people aren't there that created Halo, it is still Bungie. Now, you might be thinking, how much does the name of the company really mean if all the really talented developers have left? And I'm not saying there's no talented developers at Bungie now. I'm just saying, like, the developers that actually work at the company is more important than the name of the company. So just because it's Bungie making this new rumored Marathon game, it's not the same Bungie that created the incredible Halo games back in the day. But it is Bungie. And Bungie has a great track record, so hopefully they have, a certain standard for their games, right? There is a certain type of expectation that comes with a Bungie game. And again, like since 2001 at least, they haven't had a game flop. All their games have been very successful. And so that is why I have hope for this new game. Now, as far as it being an extraction type game, again, I don't really know how much I like that mode because I've never experienced it, and I don't really even know what it's all about because I barely even watched it. And I think I'd probably prefer like a campaign and then like a standard multiplayer instead of this extraction thing. And maybe it'll have that. Maybe it will have a campaign. Maybe it will have like arena gameplay plus the extraction mode. We don't know. This is just rumored right now. This is, so I'm just speculating. But nonetheless, it has piqued my interest. I'm not convinced this will be something great. Definitely won't get my hopes up. But I think it's fair to have some hope about this game if it is real. Again, because it's Bungie, and Bungie has a great track record. And they've also created my favorite games of all time. And they are by far my favorite games. So it's definitely fair to have some hope here. Now, funny enough, this is not the first time that I've heard about Bungie working on a new Marathon game. The first time I heard of this was back in 2012, like a fucking decade ago. I remember watching an IGN video, and this is something that stuck with me. This video has popped into my head multiple times throughout the years. I don't know why. It's just something that stuck with me. But in the video, they mentioned how Bungie was working on a game, codename Destiny, right? And that turned out to obviously be Destiny. It wasn't just the codename. And they also mentioned in that video that Bungie was working on a successor to Marathon. And they also mentioned that we probably won't see anything about that game for a while.
The contract also reveals that Bungie is apparently working on a successor to Marathon. Marathon was a first-person shooter released by Bungie way back in 1994. The document states Bungie may devote no more than 5% of its staff to a new Marathon while under contract with Activision, so it doesn't sound like that one will be ready anytime soon.
That was a decade ago that I heard about that. And here we are now, and I'm hearing about this Marathon game again. Now, I don't know if this Marathon game that we're hearing about now is related to the one I heard about 10 years ago. It could be unrelated, but it might be the same project. I don't know. In the article from Tom Henderson on Insider Gaming, they did mention that it is in a pre-alpha stage, but it also mentioned that this game could get announced at any point. In that article, it was also mentioned that the game is intended to be the ultimate example of a living game. It was said seasonal rewards and progression will be a huge part of the game, which isn't surprising considering Bungie's success with the Destiny series and its live services. This will be the first non-Destiny title the studio has developed in over a decade. And yeah, that's another thing that's crazy. This is going to be the first game Bungie has worked on since Destiny. They've been working on Destiny for a while. Destiny 1 released in 2014. Bungie's last Halo game released in 2010. So this is cool. This is cool that we're getting something new. I mean, it's old. Marathon is old, but it's a new Marathon game. This is something new from Bungie, other than Halo or Destiny. So I'm definitely interested in this because, again, Bungie, they have a great track record. They've created like my favorite games, and they haven't had a game that wasn't successful. Also in this article, it was mentioned that in 2019, Bungie CEO Pete Parsons suggested in an IGN interview that the studio will have a new game by 2025. So by 2025, we have a pretty specific path to make sure we transform Destiny and that we have other franchises within the marketplace, Parsons said. So maybe 2025 is when we can expect to get our hands on this Marathon game if it is real. But that is 2025, so that is still a little bit of a wait. And I've already been waiting for a new good game for a while now, so I kind of like need something now. Like I'm looking for like a new good game that appeals to me now. So I don't want to look to 2025. I really don't want to do that, but hopefully we get to see. I mean, if it is coming out in 2025, we will see stuff about the game before then. But yeah, hopefully that is soon that this game gets announced. But anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Let me know how you're feeling about this game. Are you excited? Not so much. Maybe you don't like extraction games, but again, like I said, it might not just be an extraction game. It could be more than that. We don't know. I definitely have some hope for this. I explained why I would have some hope. I think that makes sense. But yeah, I hoping for the best, and yeah, hopefully this is real. Hopefully it gets announced soon, and yeah, that'll be cool. Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.